This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Do you take this woman as your lawful wedded wife?
Ooh, yeah! Oh,
Place the ring on her finger and repeat after me. With this ring,
no. With this ring,
I thee wed.
I thee wed.
Hello, I'm Ryan Everett.
I'm Cindy Everett.
And welcome to With This Ring. We are walking through the GWCW list of wrestlers, and this is With This Ring edition 25. Now, if you're thinking, wait, I didn't hear a 24, there was no 24. It was recorded, but apparently the MacBook said it would be a good time to update during it. Happened? I think, I'm not really sure, but we're keeping a close eye on the recording this time around.
Absolutely.
And hopefully nothing like that happens. And unfortunately, Lex Luger's episode was recorded, but is in the big graveyard in the sky. And it's kind of interesting because there was there was a documentary filmed and created, and there was a trailer for it on WWE Network. And the move to Peacock, it was supposed to debut July 4th, and it never aired. Now it's
just floating out in the ether.
They're talking oh no, it never existed. We didn't.
It was about Lex Luger?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was like a 90-minute documentary about him.
He's just, all of his content is just not
It just keeps getting destroyed, yeah.
Not meant to be.
Poor guy.
Yeah. Well, but like I said, I think as soon as we realized it was lost, I'm like, this is very indicative of Lex Luger because we don't have to talk too much about him, but no. I did start that episode saying he was kind of a blind spot for me and not someone I ever really considered.
Right.
I was vaguely aware of him, but he never really stuck out.
Right.
Unlike Bobby Eaton, who I had never freaking heard of.
Yes.
What's your rationale? I mean, we're almost to the end of the year.
Yep.
Why do you pick a dark horse like Bobby Eaton?
Well, because I think he's one of those guys, he's not going to be probably, I would say, at least top 10 for anyone, but because that's kind of where the thing is, it's fun to pick the top 10 guys, but then also, who's 28 and not 38, why do you make a case for him?
The decisions get more nuanced, you're saying?
Right,
go down the list. Yeah, I could see that.
So, and he actually might get on some people's top 10, I could see, because he's considered, the best tag wrestler
I was
ever.
going to say, I feel like it was more like a Midnight Express watch than a Bobby Eaton,
right,
I would say.
Yeah, so, that's the bulk of his career. So he started, and there are a couple different orientations first, but him and Dennis Condrey as the Midnight Express with Jim Cornette as a manager was they went throughout the whole country, Memphis and then Texas and then Mid-South, and then they came to Jim Crockett Promotions. And the first match we watched, which was February
1986.
Yes, February 86.
We are weeks old.
Yeah, I did not watch this live.
No?
Even though it was on TBS, Superstars on the SUPERSTATION. So,
that's Ted Turner, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right, all of his synergies there. Yeah, I said he's really selling the leg hits, and I like the rock. Well, that's actually really funny because I really like the rocket launcher move, but then I didn't realize they're going to do it every single match. So at this point,
has it lost its luster?
The novelty wore off for me.
Yeah,
and some of them were better executed than others. But first match, I was like, ooh, rocket launcher. At first they had very similar mullets, but then Bobby had the bigger one. I did get him confused with Dennis Condrey for the
Loverboy Dennis
Loverboy. And then when they played that promo at the end of this one, Dennis Condrey looks a little rough.
Yeah.
What's his deal?
Well, he's kind of interesting fellow because the Midnight Express, like we saw, the first two matches are with them.
Right.
And then in 1987, beginning of 1987, Dennis Condrey just went home to Colorado
just was done.
Yeah, I mean, I read a rumor once that it had something to do with child support. Like, he was starting to get hassled, so he decided to go halfway across the country, lay low for a little bit, maybe.
Well, if they can garnish your wages, then...
Well, yeah, but if you're deciding to go across the country and not wrestle anymore...
Yeah, well, that's a different discussion.
Wages are harder to find.
We have to call our lawyer friend Chris Collins. Tracks down bad dads.
Yes. Traits down Dennis Condrey. And this is the least of the Midnight Express paternal issues.
You did tease the fact that his next partner was
Sweet Stanley.
Sweet Stanley had an interesting background.
Yeah, we'll
get there.
We'll get there when we. Yeah, let's.
Okay.
So the first so Midnight Express and Rock and Roll Express, those were the teams like.
And those teams are too similar.
Yeah, exactly. But like all throughout the country, they go to each different territory and feud with each other. So they were kind of always together, and they're kind of looked at as like the classic '80s tag team feud.
I could see that. They looked the part for sure.
Right. Yeah.
It was a good match. And then the next one, also 1986.
Yes.
With the very dramatic pumpkin fall.
Well, that was to sell the big Skywalker match.
Right, the Skywalker match, obviously.
So you throw a pumpkin from a 3-story scaffold.
But they somehow make the drop last 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And fade ins and out. So, very effective, very apropos, coming up on Halloween here. I think we talked about this at the time. This is, good in theory, but the way they executed it just did not quite work because they're trying to wrestle up on. I mean, everyone listening to this knows they're wrestling up on a scaffold. It wasn't really wide enough. It was very unstable. You could tell they didn't really want to execute any big moves.
Right. Yeah, and that's kind of
I don't blame them.
That's kind of what they found out about scaffold matches as they did them was that by and large they suck because the guys are too scared to like.
Well, I don't blame them.
Yeah, I mean you can't be doing like slams and suplexes on
boards.
A board that it would be one thing if they at least made it like 10 feet wide across.
Right.
These were like it was literally like a wooden plank that was like maybe 4 feet across.
Yeah.
And I mean these are. I know the wood was strong enough, but it's still like Hawk and Animal are 300 pounds each.
Yeah.
And the Midnight Express guys are like 250, so it's not like it's there's
a
considerable heft on this wood.
The live load, as they would say.
I could see them actually doing something like that now, because they'd have it be so much of a more secure.
Right.
Like, I mean, we went to the War Games.
I was thinking that.
And think about how much safer that cage was than like the 1987 version, where it's literally just two raw iron fences like mended together.
Plus the ceiling, that's too low.
Right. Yeah.
That was a good safety feature right there, taking the ceiling out.
Well, that also was because like people are going to fly off it and stuff like.
Right. But poor Bryant Pillman, I still
remember that. A couple of years too late for him.
And they did it twice.
Well, the first time was a mistake.
Well, the second time wasn't, which is a mistake for Brian.
Yeah.
I cut myself out of that situation. So I think what they tried to do instead, they tried to go on the sides.
Yeah.
And, pretend, kind of try and push each other off the sides, or they did some, good old school elementary school chicken fighting.
And there is the Midnight Express show a little bit of smarts at the start to throw some powder on their eyes.
Yep. Classic move. Bobby Eaton starts bleeding.
Yep.
And they do a chicken fight and they all decide screw it.
Yeah, they all are just going down the sides and the Midnight Express take very safe bumps to the ground. Because they were doing this so they do it the Starcade show on that was closed circuit at the time. Then they'd go and do it around the horn.
Oh, okay.
And they'd have to do these scaffold matches every place. So you found out a way to take a very nice safe bump off it where it'd be about as bad as from the top of the turnbuckle to the floor.
Right. Well, someone didn't have a safe landing.
Yes, because then good old Precious Paul Ellering chases up James E. Cornette to the top, and he gets the better of him, and James E. Cornette takes the fall onto Big Bubba, a.k.a. the Big Boss Man. Yeah. Yes.
Who was oblivious
to
what was happening.
I've heard Jim Cornette talk about it in interviews and stuff, and Big Bubba, Big Boss Man, felt horrible afterwards, obviously.
Oh, good.
But he said he told me, Jimmy, I looked in the lights and I couldn't see anything. It was too bright.
So maybe plausible. But
yeah, I think it could be You don't usually, like back then, because definitely they didn't like rehearse any of this, so he probably hadn't been in the arena with his goofy ass sunglasses looking around.
Well, wait, he said it was too bright and he was wearing sunglasses.
Well, I think it was a different shade than he was expecting to see. I believe the Big Boss Man. I mean, he stands for law and order.
Right. Well, Jim Cornette had his knees blown out.
Right? Yeah, both knees were blown out. But of course, like, I'm not sure how long, but like within, I would say, at least 3 weeks of TV, he showed up and was there, like, in a wheelchair with double cast on his legs and stuff.
Really milking it. You could tell he was hurt, like when he was.
Yeah, he was not like. I mean, he's a good seller, but not that good.
Right. Yeah, that was a boo boo.
Yeah, that will hurt.
Yeah, so a little interesting end to the match. So next, 1988. This is the last. Yes, match this is with Dennis.
No, this was the first match with the Skywalker match. Was the last with Dennis.
Oh, so my 1990 match versus the Southern Boys is where I have. Might have talked to you about Stan. Who was his partner in 1988?
It was Stan Lane.
Oh.
He came in like, they didn't really miss a beat, and they kind of, like, it went like 1 week, Dennis Condrey's there, the next week it's Stan Lane, and Jim Cornette's talking about how Stan Lane is like a great wrestler, and the new Midnight Express. And
so Dennis left suddenly?
Yeah. Just like up and vanished.
Okay. So this match, the Fantastics, the new people from California.
Yes, they were.
Concentrating on the match because I could just see their penises hanging out of their tights.
Tommy Rogers and Bobby Fulton.
Oh my god,
very proud of themselves.
They were wearing cups or something. You could see like everything.
Yep.
But no, I remember my commenting. This is when it was a fast-paced match. It was long for a debut, and they must have been really selling the Fantastics to let them win.
Yeah.
Right away, like after a long match. It wasn't like go out, make the Midnight Express look good, and have your moment,
and have like a cheap roll up or anything.
Right.
No, it was a 30-minute match.
A legit match. There was some back-to-back rocket launchers, like I said.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of those. Got sick of it, but the novelty wore off, and the Fantastics won.
Yeah, which was like a shock. Like,
really?
Because I think it was their debut match, and I'm assuming they had like a couple of weeks where they show like video highlights of them and stuff coming in, but yeah, this was a real surprising match. And then because of this, I think the next day was Clash of the Champions, and the first Clash of the Champions, there's a Midnight Express Fantastics title match.
Oh.
Which ends in just a DQ, but it's like it's like, not the opposite of this, but very different from this, but still really good. It's kind of like just a 10-minute brawl, basically, that ends in a DQ, so.
Gotcha.
It's kind of very different, but also very good. So it's kind of interesting to see them be able to do both styles. They didn't
do the brawl first, that short brawl first.
Yeah, well, I think this was kind of like to establish them, just that they could go with them, and then the brawl was kind of like they're willing to get wild if they need to.
Oh,
hey.
All right.
With those tights, you never know how wild they can get.
Yeah. So we're not going to talk about the are we going to watch more Fantastic matches?
not on the radar right now.
That's okay. Well, I'm guessing they had a relatively short tenure.
Yeah, they're kind of a weird.
Kind of a flash in the pan.
Yeah, like they wanted them to be the next Midnight Express, and they kind of caught on, but then for some reason it kind of died out pretty quickly, I think.
So what makes somebody want to be like a great tag match versus like a good individual wrestler? Like what's the difference? Like, tennis, your doubles, your singles, and
right?
Different skill sets and it's different role.
Yeah, I think it's just, for one thing, like how you fit with someone else. Like, and I mean, singles guys are just kind of more independent thinking, I guess, and kind of want to do it themselves. I think that would be and it also depends, like, a lot of times tag teams are not so much family, but like someone you came up with.
Gotcha.
So like if you came up with a guy and you're always working with him, you'd probably
want to
team with him.
No, I just thought it was interesting because the majority of the matches we watched for him were
matches.
So I wasn't sure if there was a specific reason why he went that route versus being a singles guy.
I think maybe it also had to do with his promo ability, which we'll get to.
Awful. Okay.
Until the end.
That was pretty funny.
Yes, but yes.
It was not great, but
You're right. Well, yeah. I mean, because his thing was not talking, but he could do it in the ring. So
yeah, that's true. He didn't have enough out-of-ring personality at all.
Yeah, I think that's where he gets.
You're right. That's right. That's where he needs a partner.
Yeah, a partner, and I mean, also like a manager or someone else to talk for him, which could just be a tag partner, also. But.
Right. Jim Cornette did a good job. Though.
Yeah,
you can tell that's his wheelhouse. He's kind of like a Mouth from the South precursor.
Right. Well, they kind of came up. Well, Jimmy Hart came up a little before him, but they were kind of competing.
Oh.
Competing archetypes, you could say.
Yeah.
But he also had more of a, like, Jim Cornette was always talking about, like, Mama Cornette was funding him and stuff, so he kind of always had the rich boy vibe also.
Privilege vibe.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So then our final Midnight Express match is the Great American Bash 1990, where the Midnight Express faced the Southern Boys, and we find that you could be babyfaces and wear the Confederate flag.
Yeah, that did not age well.
Yeah, well, it was 1990.
Well, that's no excuse.
I mean, there isn't, but at that time, I think like 3 or 4 state flags had the Confederate.
Yeah, I think they knew exactly what they were doing.
Yeah.
That's for a different podcast. This was, they were the challengers, the Midnight Express with him and Nat. This is a Sweet Stan match. Yes. So tell me, what's his deal? He's been you forgot.
It seems there was an article written by David Dixon's fan, a journalist I follow, a podcast guy, and he got through some files. Apparently, Sweet Stan Lane is the father of current Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert.
Okay.
The crazy lady who wanted to bring her gun into Congress and stuff.
Oh, I'm not familiar with her, but that doesn't...
Yeah, she's just below Marjorie Taylor Greene on the crazy...
Okay. Gotcha.
Crazy neocon women.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And this is a secret, or
no? It's kind of a weird story because there was a paternity test and it was real negative, but then 3 years later, the doctor that handled the paternity test was charged for carrying out at least 2,000 false negatives. So then anything over the 5 years before that, it's
gotcha.
Really in question.
So the doctor could be bought or is he just negligent, or?
Yeah, she was. No, I think she was. Well,
they were paid off.
It seems like she was paid off because she pled no contest and just kind of.
Huh. Yeah,
kind
that's
her way
bizarre.
out.
That's very bizarre. I think Law and Order about that, the woman, the fingerprint person.
Huh?
Remember in Law and Order, there was a woman who was the fingerprint expert, but she wasn't using enough match point.
Yeah.
I can spoil an episode in Law and Order that came out 15 years ago.
Yeah, 15, please.
The last 25?
Yeah, this series itself stopped airing 15 years ago.
Okay, well, you guys I'm sure have seen it a lot.
Yeah, it's been on TNT 346 times.
Exactly. Well, I don't know. I don't know why I thought it was going to be when you said there was a weird thing about Stan Lee. Not that, but I guess I find that not implausible.
Yeah.
That a WCW wrestler has a daughter who's a crazy neocon.
Yeah,
it's probably not the only one.
Yeah,
probably not the only one.
And I mean, it does. Stan Lee also went on to be a speedboat commentator in ESPN2.
Awesome.
So
good for him.
Yeah, I think he kind of fits. He really fit into the Daytona Beach sort of scene. It sounds like.
I do comment on speedboat.
I mean, it was the early days of ESPN2. I don't know if you ever ventured into there.
No, not that I can remember.
It was a lot of it was X Games sort of stuff. I
remember.
And then they'd also have the World's Strongest Man competition from 1978 and stuff. It was a wild.
I remember ESPN was channel 12 and ESPN2 was channel 16 on our cable.
Ours was 29 and I think 72.
Okay. I just remember always kind of flipping past 16 pretty quickly. It was X Games, nah.
Yeah. Yeah, ESPN2 though was kind of wild. And apparently at some point they had speedboat racing.
We'll have to find
and Sweet Stan Lane is the commentator.
I think I could find that on YouTube.
I don't know if you could find the Stan Lane ones particularly. Should be on ESPN Plus, really.
Well, yeah.
I think that's a whole other different kind of
Lane. That's
licensing.
Oh, if I put in Stan Lane, Stan Lane joins Midnight Express. Stan Lane speedboat.
Or boat race. It might. Yeah, it'd have to be speed. Or maybe yachts? Or yacht racing?
This is the first clip. Man in Black talks to Superboat Stan Lane. That looks really
I think that's like something. I think that is Stan Lane now, like talking.
Oh, he looks weird.
By a bridge in Florida or something, or in Tampa or something.
Yeah. That's all right.
Welcome to Key West sounds like a very fitting Stan Lane video.
Yeah. Well, we can look into that further later.
Yeah. So, obviously, Stan Lane...
Oh, this is when it turned into a karate match. This was just super fast and physical, and they weren't really jumping around too much, and then they started doing karate moves.
Right.
This is a weird one.
Because Stan Lane was claimed to be a karate master.
And then
I think it was
Jim Ross made a comment, like, I'm just doing karate once at the mall.
Yeah.
This one was okay.
Yeah, I liked it. It was kind of one of the Midnight Express's like last great matches as a team. Because then, shortly after this, Jim Herd, the boss, like offered them new contracts with tremendous price drops. And Jim Cornette and Stan Lane left and formed their own promotion.
Oh.
But Bobby Eaton decided to stay because it was a guaranteed contract, and he had he had kids and stuff. So,
did he?
Yeah,
little Bobby Eaton's.
Little Bobby Eaton's.
Was his wife or baby mama involved in?
So his
girlfriend. I don't.
There was
one
of the in Memphis. There were always three promoters together. It was Jerry Jarrett, who's Jeff Jarrett's dad.
Okay.
Jerry Lawler. King.
I know who that is.
And Bill Dundee, who was like this Australian guy who became a wrestler.
Like Crocodile Dundee?
No, not Paul Hogan.
No, he's not Australian. I'm getting the Crocodile Hunter guy, Steve Irwin.
Steve Irwin's, he's Australian.
But is Crocodile Dundee?
Yeah, Paul Hogan's Australian.
Okay, I got it.
But Bill Dundee was also Australian. He was not the Crocodile Hunter. But he was like, so the three of them kind of promoted Memphis together, like, everyone would get like 3 months booking at a time, so it didn't get stale.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And like they all had different parts of ownership. So Bill Dundee, like, always forbid his daughter from dating a wrestler. And then Bobby Eaton came and like over for dinner one night.
Aww.
And they revealed that they were engaged, or she said she was going out with a wrestler, and he was like, "I told you not to do that. Who is it?" She said Bobby Eaton, and supposedly he like put his hand down and was like, "Well, you picked the one good one." And supposedly they were always very, very happy together.
Well, that's good.
Very nice.
Good functional relationship.
Yeah.
Healthy relationship. Good.
It ends up being not sad, but sort of bittersweet at the end.
Okay.
We'll get to that, though.
Okay. All right. All these teasers.
Yeah.
The interesting saga.
So before we take a break, I thought we'd do a quick retrospective on Lex Luger.
Oh.
Since we did miss out on him.
Okay, let me find my Lex Luger notes. Like our ratings? Or
not even ratings, just like overall thought. So the 6 matches we watched for Lex were Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard versus Lex Luger and Barry Windham at the first Clash of the Champions, where they win the tag titles. Then Lex Luger versus Ricky Steamboat at the Great American Bash for the United States title, where Lex is just a freshly turned heel and makes Ricky Steamboat cheat to win the match.
And then he chases him out with a chair.
Yes. Ricky Steamboat's chair shots. At the beginning, they were, when he was like giving him to the chest and stuff, they were pretty lethal, but then they kind of worn off. And then we saw Lex Luger versus Ric Flair at Wrestle War. And then we saw Ric Flair versus Lex Luger versus Sting in a triangle match.
Triangle match.
Yes. Triangle match at Starrcade 1990.
Oh, we watched a promo where he comes out and confronts Hulk Hogan.
Oh, yeah.
All of America.
Yeah, the first Nitro, of course.
Very shouty.
Very big moment for him.
He was in the Great American Chain Store.
Yeah, he was he was just, buying an engine set and saw his good friend Sting and his old nemesis Ric Flair wrestling in the middle of the very mall he was going to buy a train at, so he decided to step out in there, and then later saw a mystical Dungeon of Doom attacking Hulk Hogan and wanted to cut that off at the head. So yeah, so that's when we get to like the actual ratings and stuff for jump up moments, that's a big, huge moment. Like he was he was the biggest point of emphasis on the first Nitro, which is pretty big.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
And then we watched
the triangle match.
Yes, then the triangle match, and then Sting and Lex Luger. We looked at a tag team match of theirs against the Faces of Fear, Ming and the Barbarian.
Faces of Fear.
Yeah.
Okay, of course.
Yeah. Wouldn't you have? If you walked into an alley and saw them too, wouldn't you have a Face of Fear?
I guess.
And then finally we watched Lex Luger versus Hollywood Hogan from Nitro 100.
Oh yeah.
In 1997, where
gets everybody.
Lex Luger, gets the clean win. Gets the world title over Hulk Hogan.
And there's him working out with Percy Pringle.
Yes, then well, that technically that can't count for the ratings because it was CWF Championship Wrestling from Florida, which
that was funny.
I stress that could not be part of their ratings, but I don't think it really helped him one way or the other. But yeah, it's very interesting. His first appearance on television.
Paul Bearer, you mean?
No, the Luger, as he called him.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I kind of stand by what I said. You know, he really good wrestler and very strong and physical, but he never stood out to me as a persona. And he still doesn't. Like,
his persona, I mean...
He doesn't really have a gimmick.
I think the best he was probably either, like, 1989 after he turned heel, because then he kind of always just had, like, I'm the best. Just because of, like, my body and stuff. But then, in 1989, he kind of leaned into it and sort of, like, became cocky heel about it.
Yeah.
But then, that was gone. And then in 95, 96, it gets really good when he turns heel against Hulk Hogan, but is still friends with Sting.
That's right.
So, like, they'd be coming out as a tag team. By the time we watched it, it was kind of over.
Yeah.
But they'd be coming out and slapping hands with the fans, and then Sting would face towards the ring, and Lex Luger would, like, shy away from the fans.
Yeah. Well, I will say, just because, like, we watched matches that span, like, 15 to 20 years. And
right.
I don't know. He, like, aged really well, I think. I think he looked a lot better.
Yeah, that's why we ended at 1997, though, because, like, 1998 comes and he starts falling off a pretty stiff cliff.
Gotcha. Well, then just let me picture Lex Luger in 1997.
All right.
Any further.
Yep.
But we didn't really talk about his role with him and Miss Elizabeth when we recorded, did we?
A little bit. I think we touched on it a little bit.
But now he's, alive and cleanly sober.
Yeah.
Straight and narrow.
Yep. Although he can't get his documentary released by the WWE for some reason.
Well, his content is just not destined to see the light of day.
I guess not. So, real quick, our ratings. I gave Nuance. We both gave him a 7.5. I think we thought, like, he could be face or heel, but he's not really gonna...
He's fine.
He's fine, yeah. Jump Up. Cindy gave him a 7.5. I gave him an 8. And I just think, like, the two big Nitro moments kind of push him up. Promos, we were not too hot on. You gave him a 3.
Well,
I gave him a 4.5.
I stand by that. I mean, when you think about Mick Foley and Dusty Rhodes and you can't really compare.
Right. Yeah.
Lex Luger's a performance to that.
Yeah, and then work rate, I had him it's a
6.
6? Oh yeah. Well, you know what? I think I remember that I took like everything past the last Nitro match we saw into consideration. Like that really hurt him because he gets really bad to the point like he can't move the last like 2 years he's wrestling.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't like it was just he was so full of steroids.
Ugh. Wow. All right. Well, yeah. So I gave him a 25. You gave him a 26. He's definitely the lowest so far.
Yes. Yes, he is. Which, kind of surprising, like...
Oh, I don't know. The other people we have in here. I
mean, I would have thought Lex Luger would score above, like, a Brian Pillman.
I like Brian Pillman better.
Yeah, I think we might have went a little high on some of his...
Flying Brian from Cincinnati.
Not so much, like...
You give him higher than I did.
Yeah, I know. I'm a high rater. I'll admit that.
I'm a tough grader.
Like promos. Wait. Oh, I'm looking at Cactus Jack.
Well, we can look over it later.
We'll look at it later.
But Lex Luger, bottom of the pack right now.
All right, real quick before we keep going, want to tell you about some of the great things on the Place to Be Nation. Please rate, review, and subscribe. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Amazon Music. Just search Place to Be Wrestling Network. We have plenty of great content for you here at the Place to Be. The Place to Be podcast, the mothership of the Place to Be Nation, where co-hosts JT Rosero and Scott Criscolo take you chronologically through the history of WWE.
PTB and Main Event with hosts Scott Criscolo, Nate Milton, and Steve Will, breaking down all the current events in the world of wrestling.
Talking WCW heads to Center Stage Theater, where Tim Capel, Greg Phillips, Jennifer Smith pay tribute to the legendary promotion from the Dirty South.
Do we do a promo for our own show?
No, we can skip that one.
Highway to the Impact Zone, where Logan Crossland and Jacob Williams discuss the era of TNA, starting with the birth of the Impact TV show.
The NWA Saturday Special, where Scott Criscolo and George Dr. G. Ribello talk both current and classic National Wrestling Alliance.
Plus, monthly WWE PPV reaction shows and semi-regular shows like Jenny and the Gems, PTB NXT, Adams Division, Special Relations, Chicken Salad, Senior Video, NWA Crock and Roll, Extreme Resurrection, and more.
Yep. And also, make sure to listen to our quad of pods. We have the PTB Pop Experience, is all about pop culture. We have the best in TV, movies, comics, trivia shows, and much more.
Jennifer Smith is always in the Jenny position with her unique takes on pop culture and life. Her feed is loaded with great shows ranging from movies, books, Marvel, and more. If you are interested in doing a pop culture podcast, Jenny wants to talk to you. Reach out to her on Twitter at JennyPosition to learn more.
Also, make sure to join JT Rosero, Aaron George, and Chad Campbell for great shows on wrestling, comics, and more with the North-South Connection feed. Check out the histories of WWE, TNA, and other great wrestling topics and takes.
Also, Glenn and Scott Butler are continuing their spectacular journey through music, films, and more on the Non-Toxic Fanboys podcast, where they try to enjoy the things they love. Find them at Non-Toxic Fanboys on Twitter, nontoxicfanboys.com, and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
And make sure to join the rejuvenated Place to Be discussion group on Facebook. Go to Facebook, look up Place to Be, and request an invite. Discussions and fun with wrestling, movies, tournaments, and all forms of pop culture.
Our 2021 stretch project is determining the greatest NWA/WCW wrestler of all time. Go to facebook.com/GWCW and join the group to discuss nominees.
And make sure to check out PlacetoBeNation.com each and every day. We have new voices and fresh takes, bringing you articles on topics in the world of wrestling, sports, and pop culture, including Trent's SmackDown on Fox Report, Paulie's Perspective, and Matt's Disney live-action journey.
And if you're doing some online shopping from Amazon, be sure to click the banner on the right side of the Place to Be Nation homepage or use www.
And we're back.
We gotta get that music that Kramer plays.
Yeah.
When he's
and
like just
we're
shoving
back.
like chips into his mouth.
Well, it's saltine. It's his ad break. He's got to take advantage of it.
Exactly. That was our ad break.
I was shoving the saltines in my mouth.
I wasn't.
So
It's our next format, Scandals and Animals.
Yes. Jack Hanna, prick Philly raises kids.
So we're into, I've still my Lex Luger notes. We're into Bobby Eaton's solo career.
Yes, so like I said, the end of 1990 comes, he's kind of on his own, he turns face, and just becomes basically the same wrestler he was, just by himself, and doesn't break rules as much.
Yeah, why did the Midnight Express break up, or why didn't he get a new tag partner?
Well,
because as we talked about,
Stan Lane and Jim Cornette left. And they didn't really have anything to do for him right away, so they just kind of figured, well, we have more heels than faces, so why don't you just become like a mid-card face? And they knew, like, at least he'd be a good hand in the ring and stuff, and get good matches out of guys.
Yep.
And after a while, he actually becomes TV champ for a little bit.
Oh, good for him.
Then he loses it to a very newcomer into the company, Stunning Steve Austin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nothing ever happened with that guy. He fizzled out. And then, shortly after that, though, he's given a match on Clash of the Champions, so nationwide primetime TV.
Good coverage.
In the main event, 2 out of 3 falls against the Nature Boy Ric Flair for the world title.
Yeah, so Ric Flair's such a cheater, pumpkin eater. He's always doing putting his legs on the ropes, which doesn't do anything. A lot of chops. Ric Flair's look makes everyone look good.
Yeah.
And Bobby Eaton's a good wrestler.
Right,
so
I think.
It's good.
Yeah, he hangs with them.
Oh, yeah, the bar is set high for this one. And this was one of those ones where it was best of 3.
Right.
Bobby gets Ric Flair first, but then, pretty much, Ric Flair comes back very quickly.
Right.
With count out, and then wins. I said he wins with the figure 4.
Yeah, he wins with the figure 4, and it's actually a pinfall. The second fall was a count out.
That's right. So it was only really one pin.
Right, yeah. But that's kind of what they did a lot. In the territory days, the champ would visit the territory and face the top face. And the face would always win the first fall clean. The second fall would be a count out or DQ. And then the third fall, back then, would usually just go to the time limit draw.
Oh, and then mandatory overtime?
No, there was no mandatory overtime and sudden death overtime. This was just if it was a time limit draw, it was it, and the champ escaped with the belt. But then, he'll be back around to St. Louis in 3 months, and this time he'll have to face him again. They can
kind of leave something for the next.
Right.
What was one we watched where Ric Flair and Sting where they couldn't fall down?
There was Ric Flair or Sting and Vader.
Okay.
But it was the end of the triangle elimination match. Where at first it went to the 20-minute time limit. Then it was 5-minute overtime. And then it was sudden death, first man to fall down.
I liked that part. Sometimes the gimmick stuff comes off as, gimmicky. But that one I liked. That actually I was very much intensely watching. But then the I Quit match, the microphone,
yeah. What do you think? What do you say?
Anyways, I digress. What are we on?
So
but that's a good one. And then Steiner Brothers.
Yep. So after a little while as a face, Bobby Eaton said that it was not for him anymore. Became a heel again and joined the Dangerous Alliance.
Do they get a lot of creative control, or they just pretty much do, or they kind of?
No, back then it was kind of do what they could maybe, offer suggestions of what to do if they're not doing anything. But
gotcha.
For the most part, yeah, they just. But so he went with Paulie Dangerously and the Dangerous Alliance with Steve Austin, Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, and Larry Zbyszko, a 5-man
Dream
group.
Team.
Yep.
You said Paulie Dangerously?
Yep.
A.K.A. Paul Heyman?
Yep.
He had a pretty flowing mullet, too.
Oh, yeah. He had it working for a little bit. And then it soon became a skullet, unfortunately, for him.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Yep. So, but Paulie Dangerously is thrown out of ringside right before the match even begins.
Medusa had to go out instead.
Yep.
So what was her role? Was she related to them or not really?
Yeah, she was kind of the femme fatale of the Dangerous Alliance.
Gotcha.
And there was always implied relations with her and Rick Rude.
Rick Rude, okay.
Yeah, because Rick Rude's implied relations with everyone.
Yeah, he's gross looking. Sorry, I shouldn't. No, whatever. That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's your prerogative.
Anyways, but she gives them some chalk later.
Yeah,
in the match.
Yeah, and this is a really. I think if anything, really, this was almost more of a showcase for the Steiners because they really
they were
put on a show, and it's more they're on offense more than
that's true. Yeah, very physical, very much like a brawl. A lot of double moves where all 4 of them, or they're both getting back by one of the Steiners. Them doing the dog face move, or what's it called?
Well, yeah. Well, Rick Steiner was the dog face gremlin, so that was their pawn.
I was close.
Their pose would be him as a little dog.
Or little gremlin.
Yeah.
But no, that was pretty good. This was the awkward rocket launcher, and even the announcer made the comment.
Yeah, that he didn't work as perfectly as usual.
No. Medusa gets some chalk. This is this one kind of went all over the place too. The Steiners take out a ref, and there's a lot of confusion. Oh, and there's a good Frankensteiner move at the end.
Right.
I liked that. Are we gonna watch the Steiner brothers for one of the?
We'll see a couple more of their matches, but neither of them are featured.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And the Steiner, I don't know. I think the Steiner brothers won, but then they decided to disqualify them.
Yeah.
The ref,
it was.
Blah.
a dusty finish, as they call it. And it was kind of...
Yep.
And it was kind of weird because then, like, 2 weeks later at a house show, the Steiners won the belts. Like...
Why did it at a house show?
That's the thing that doesn't make... Because WCW...
Is WCW.
Yeah.
Their management decisions are not the best.
Right. And that was kind of like the disappointing thing. Like, this would have been a really important thing to show on the pay-per-view, and then they don't. Yep. And that concludes the Bobby Eaton matches, but not the Bobby Eaton hour.
It was a short match at the end to kind of...
Yeah, there is a... Yeah, it's a quick match between him and Lord Steven Regal. And
he looks so stupid.
Bobby Eaton gets the advantage, so William Regal rolls out of the ring. And
Wait, Steven or William? Because you called him Steven Regal and you called him William Regal.
Well, Steven Regal in WCW, so...
Okay.
I'll try to keep to that.
What's his real... Is his real name William?
Oh, his real name's like something Darren Palmer or something.
Oh, okay.
But in WCW...
Is he British?
Yeah, he's British.
Oh, okay.
No, Darren Matthews, I think.
Darren Matthews. Is he married to Nikki and Bree's mom?
No.
Wait, who's married to Nikki and Bree's mom?
John Laurinaitis.
Okay.
Johnny Ace.
Okay. What? I was close.
Okay.
No, not really.
Well, a little bit.
William Regal's involved with NXT now, right?
Yes. He's like... Well, he's been the kayfabe, like, commissioner, but he's also been, like, a part of, like, their scouting department and stuff.
Gotcha. Anyways, he looks ridiculous. And he has, like, the collar but no shirt. And
Well, yeah.
Like, struts around like a dandy. But, like, it's funny, but it's, like, a little cringy.
He's a lord.
Oh, he's something.
So, yeah, him... apparently beforehand, Bobby Eaton had been asking him to become a tag team partner, and Lord Steven Regal turned him down because he was not of his class.
Not refined enough.
But then they have the match, and Lord Steven Regal is taken aback at Bobby Eaton's talent.
Right.
And offers to become tag team partners with him as long as he can civilize him.
Class it up.
Yeah.
So there's a nice montage of him getting more classy, going around Britain. Yep. They did not have a high budget for that promo, but it was Bobby Eaton playing the country bumpkin.
Right.
And not a lot of talking.
No, well.
But what is it? Yeah.
It's not his strong point.
No, but what does it end with?
Well, it ends with a big get for WCW at the time. The Queen of England shows up. And Knights.
It's definitely her.
Yeah. Sir Robert of Eaton. He becomes an Earl. Earl Robert of Eaton.
Of Eaton, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure did.
She does.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot of talking.
I mean, it's a lady with a white glove. It has to be her.
With a sword, clearly. But, yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
More because of Steven Regal's antics.
Right, yeah. He's got, like, the best facial expressions in wrestling.
That's good. We'll have to make a power hour of, like, WCW promos. I'm sure you already have that.
I don't have it, but that would be quite the adventure.
Oh, yeah. You have, like, you have Cheatham with the shark fin on his back.
My name is Shark! Now scram!
Bobby Eaton getting the Halloween Havoc one. We should just watch that anyways.
Yes, that is...
It's the season for Halloween Havoc. I made cookies.
They're my wife's
made
cookies.
We're getting off topic. Bobby Eaton was not involved in that. Sorry to say.
No, well, good for him. Stayed the whole way. So then, what kind of made me think of him for this project was I was listening to a podcast that was at the time a month old, talking about how he had recently passed. So I kind of put that in the back burner then, and then he passed away, I think, in August.
Oh, wow.
Let me check that.
How old is he?
He wasn't that old.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like 50. So he's born in 58. So yeah, he was 62.
Oh, wow. It was really young.
Yeah. And I think it was just kind of... health issue. In 2006, he had a heart attack. Mm. And then in 2013, he had a pacemaker installed.
Okay.
So, yeah, he had, like, heart problems, but he had kind of been okay. But then in June 26th, his wife died. And then, like, 4 weeks later, he died. So it was kind of like she had breast cancer, and he kind of started falling apart after she died.
Aw.
Yeah.
That is sad.
Look kind of sweet, they,
Died of a broken heart? That's sweet.
Well, bittersweet.
It is bittersweet. You're right. You're right.
If you believe in a afterlife and stuff, it's better.
No. Like Larry and Cheryl, married forever.
Yeah, exactly.
Even in heaven. But, all right.
Yep. So, for Bobby Eaton, where would you put his grades? So again...
Okay, so range, I noticed you closed them all.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. So... Nuance?
I would give him a relatively high rating, right? He was a heel, he was a face, he was singles, he was... Tag. I'll give him an 8. I'm feeling generous.
Oh, wow.
And I'm feeling kind of sad for him. And his family.
Yeah, I'm going to go 7 point... Or no, I'll go 8 also, because even his faces, they were able to have the tag matches, which we didn't end up watching any of, but they could even get things there.
Okay.
Jump up factor.
What's that mean again?
It's like big moments, top matches.
He had good matches, but the crowd, going off the crowd reaction, they were always just kind of...
Well, I would say...
I don't know, the Southern Boys people were going pretty crazy for
And
him.
I would say, like, more so when he was with Dennis Condrey, the first 2 matches, like, especially the Starrcade match, it was almost, like, the main selling point of that show.
Oh, okay.
It was, at the very least, the second biggest match. Probably the biggest match, actually, though.
I'll give him a 7.
All right.
What about you?
I'm going to go 8 because, well, like I said, especially the early Midnight Express were a big deal. And then also...
Oh, I can't give him higher than Lex Luger for both of those. You change mine to 7.5. Well, I guess I change both to 7.5. I'll still be the same as Lex Luger.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay.
And then also, I do have to acknowledge Bobby Eaton is in my number 1 WCW match.
Oh.
The Dangerous Alliance War Games match. So.
Did we watch that?
Yeah.
I was going to say, yeah.
Now, promos.
Well, I gave Lex Luger a 3, and I'll give him a 3.5.
Wow.
He didn't really speak.
Yeah, I'm going to... Yeah, I would say... The thing I would say about him is he doesn't speak, but if I had to argue anything for his promos, he doesn't have to speak because he has Jim Cornette, and then later he has Paul Dangerously for his man. Like, so those guys do
that doesn't
the promo for him, I think.
Yeah.
I think it does. It gives him enough. Like, I think on his own, he's like a 0. Like, yeah, I don't think he's good at all, but I think with those guys cutting it for him.
Okay, well, we're not judging him with Paulie Dangerously and Jim Cornette. We're just reading.
Right, but he's not asked to give you're not asked to give a 25-minute promo if you're with those 2 guys. So he does what he's asked to do. But you're the one that's giving him a higher grade than I did.
Well, you didn't give him anything yet.
I'm going to give him a 3.
Oh, okay.
And that's basically off the fact that he had 2 good managers for him. And then also, like, half of it is just for the Blue Bloods promos and stuff.
Okay. And what's work rate again?
Work rate is the actual in-ring.
Oh, he was good in the ring.
Yeah.
I'll give him a 7.
I am going to go and give him... Here, I'm going to give him, I think, an 8. Because, like I said, all the Midnight Express matches are great. He gets to be a singles babyface, and he's able to do that. He's able to go back to heel. And then, even like from 93 to 95, he was kind of like just floundering, but he'd still have good matches with anyone that they paired him with.
Gotcha.
So I'll do that, and then I do some.
Equal sign, some.
equal sign song.
Yeah, just hit enter. Recognizing it. So you can copy that down. Up, enter. See? Enter, just hit enter. There you go.
All right. So we have 26 and a 27, which will each give them a point above our grade for Lex Luger.
Yeah. Like I said, I might go back and kind of re-level these. But no, I mean, it was good. He's not very well known, but I don't think it was like you picked a terrible person to like,
right,
or terrible wrestler,
right? Yeah.
So,
yeah,
cool.
All right,
who we do next?
Next, we'll be.
Who are we giving thanks for?
We're giving thanks for the enforcer, Arn Anderson.
Oh,
yeah.
I've already seen a lot of his matches, just kind of via.
Right, he's kind of had a couple via Arn Anderson, but this'll.
I'll have 4 Horsemen matches.
Yeah, this will be good. There's some 4 Horsemen matches, but then some also like solo matches to look at, which I think will be nice, a little different.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Cool.
So we'll see everyone next time on With This Ring.
Bye. Thanks for listening.